welcome to my video. So hello, my name is Alexis Diaz, and our policy proposal is called Close for Thought. So in this picture, we wanted to show the main idea of our policy. Here you can see that there is a man, homeless man, and he goes and transitions from being homeless to being well off. He looks like he has a job, and he looks generally happier. He's turned from rags to riches. So the main policy that we have is to give clothing to the homeless so that they too can better themselves and obtain jobs and then eventually get their own homes. California is one of the wealthiest states in the US with a population of about 40 million people. California has one of the largest economies in the world, and despite that, California has in recent years experienced a growing number of homelessness in both native and migrant people across the state, particularly in the city of Los Angeles. Today, nearly 1 in every 5 Los Angeles residents, that's almost 20%, live below the poverty line, which is about $24,000 a year for a family of 4. With rent prices skyrocketing, many of these individuals and families have found themselves living on the streets. 6 out of the 10 of these people will have found themselves living on the streets for the first time. From 2018 to 2019, the number of people experiencing homelessness increased by a staggering 12%, and the recent pandemic and economic downturn has made the numbers go up even higher for the upcoming months and years. So in this graphic, we can see that from 2018 to 2020, the number of homeless has increased steadily. It went from 52,000 to 58,000 to 66,000 in 2020. And in this graph, it shows from 2011 to 2019, this increased amount of homeless people. You can see that from 2011 to 2020, or 2019, that the number of people went from 40,000 to almost 60,000. That's basically a 50% increase in the homeless situation. So, sadly, many people in Los Angeles see the homeless situation as another problem to be swept under the rug. Whether it's out of shame or indifference, they ignore the plight of the homeless. This is one of the biggest barriers to entry for those who are stuck in poverty to get a job and better themselves, because most of the interviews that they will go to, they will not be able to get very far without a presentable image and a clean hygiene and other presentation factors that they are not easily able to access. It's unfair, but it's the norm in our society, and there's thousands of qualified people out of the labor market because they can't clean themselves and present an image that most of us are able to because of basic necessities that we have that they're lacking. The homeless migration patterns are our main focus, where we're going to maximize our potential efficiency by focusing on areas that have an increased number of poverty and homelessness. So in Los Angeles County is extremely large, but we're decided to focus more on downtown Los Angeles. Specifically, we want to get areas like Skid Row and other low-income areas that we will have in our selection of potential areas where we will be providing our services. So there's a concept called enclothed cognition, and it is this systematic influence that clothing has on the wearer's psychological process by IU Tech 2018. So besides the direct effect of improving the perception of the employer to the potential candidate, if someone is able to access nice clothing for an interview, it actually improves their confidence and their ability to present themselves during that interview and hopefully at the work if they get it. That's pretty important because we want to help people, and even though this might seem like a small improvement, a small, tiny little detail, it drastically improves their chances. Scientific America released an article that explored data that suggested that wearing formal business attire increased abstract thinking. This is an important aspect of creativity and long-term strategizing, which seems like a big deal, you know? It's surprising that clothing would have such a great impact on someone. A local example of an initiative is Maddie's Closet in CSUN. It allows students to get one piece of formal professional attire per semester. This allows students who are unable to purchase these materials to get some of them for themselves during their time here. The initiative helps college students who are looking for a better job prospects in the future. And according to LA Times, 1 in 10 Cal State students is homeless. So recent policy proposals in LA that we're looking at. So Mayor Eric Garcet had made an initiative for affordable housing in Los Angeles. This greatly increased the cost of the homes in the surrounding area. And the initiative itself was costly and took a very long time. So when you have something like this, there's only so many homes you can build at a time, but the problem increases rapidly. So a reporter, Gail Holland, wrote that the average cost of building a single unit of housing for the homeless in Los Angeles rose to $531,000, according to an audit from the city controller. That's a lot of money to try to put into preventing the problem. The proposal is also sure to increase the housing costs and create inefficiencies in the market. We really don't think this is the best solution to the problem, and there are more efficient ways. Close for thought is our proposal for a more efficient and less costly method of fixing the problem that would better keep track of the rapid increase in homelessness. Instead of throwing clothing out, people can put them into donation bins, reusable, recyclable ways to help the environment and those who are in need. Poor people need opportunities, they need their dignity back, and with clothing, they can make a better presentation of themselves in job interviews. So, why is this going to help? Studies have shown that job loss, and economic downturn are some of the main causes of half of the population experiencing homelessness. Society believes that one should dress professionally and have good hygiene if they're going to work, and it's definitely not wrong, you know. But these things are much easier for us to attain than someone who has no home. When they're homeless, it's not as easy to get yourself cleaned up, to get yourself professional, nice looking clothing. And so our policy will hopefully bridge the gap between the homeless and ourselves, where they can have a better chance at getting these interviews, getting these jobs, and maintaining them to hopefully fix the problem better than what the current proposals in LA would. For selection criteria, in collecting the data, we were going to place bins in areas we have identified as being well off. This is important because we want to be able to get good clothing to be able to distribute to people. This doesn't need to be randomly selected. We'll be selecting based off per capita income of these areas to ensure that we get enough clothing to distribute to the homeless. Now, for distribution, on the other hand, we'll identify homeless shelters, applying a number to each of them, and then using a random number generator to select the distribution centers. Once we have selected the areas to distribute, we'll verify that people are active job seekers. Clothing will be distributed only when they've shown that they're in need of them. So an example of this would be we verify that someone has a job interview in the future in order to get the clothing. And the random selection is important because we need to make sure that we are not just selecting certain areas that might end up biasing the results of our program. With the random selection, that prevents us from fiddling with any of the locations or any of the information and allows us to get a clear picture of how effective our policy really is. So many cities in Los Angeles County already have similar programs, and the original bins put are not fully regulated. Our proposal will place these bins in locations that are more affluent to attract a certain type of clothing so that we can have more effective methods to getting the resources we need. So the cost of it will be funded by Los Angeles County or it'll be privately funded. And we've seen on websites such as recyclebins.com that they sell bins ranging from $100 to $1,200. In order to evaluate our progress, we will compare the effectiveness of the project between areas we did and did not distribute to. And we will be looking at a range of different metrics to evaluate the impact of our outcomes. So it's not limited to, but it includes the unemployment rate, homeless population rates, and the homeless to house transition rates. The expected results, we'd hope the direct effect would be that with our success and the donation bins gathering clothing, we can deliver clothing to thousands of homeless people so they can get professionally dressed for their interviews and land these jobs. An indirect side effect would be that it would create a snowball effect so that more and more people can get out of these situations, land jobs, get homes, and get better off. So, Clothes for Thought is an initiative that allows clothing to be donated from affluent areas and given to homeless in hopes that we'll boost their confidence and chance of them getting a job. After all, we've shown that not only does it make them look better, but it helps them present themselves in a better way. Those who have benefited from the donation clothing, ultimately, obtaining a job is the ultimate goal, but we also hope that the snowball effect will decrease the amount of homelessness overall. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.